Check, check, check. Check 1, check 2, check 3. Hello! What hat should I wear today? That's a good. Making sure we're all set up and good to go here. What up, everybody? Good morning. Good morning, good morning, good day, good afternoon. It is 8:41, September 8th. It is Wednesday, it's hump day. You're halfway through the week. Let's freaking go. That means it's almost Thursday. By the time, if you're listening to this after the show, after we've aired, that means it's almost Thursday, which is Friday Eve, as we like to call it here on the show, which means it might as well be Friday. So hello, welcome in. I need this to cooperate with me here. There we go. My little screen switcher doesn't always cooperate. Oh, I actually played that. My bad. Hey, I'm so glad you're here. It's gonna be a good day. I don't really have a specific title for today's episode, for today's show, because I'm not 100% sure what I was going to talk about, which is a pretty regular occurrence, if I do say so myself. I don't write a script for the show. This is a live show. That means it's a show where you, the audience, can get involved with the conversations, with the topics. You can literally, as we're live, whatever platform you're watching on, whether it's you're watching on Facebook, YouTube, or Twitch. Did I mention that we're live on Facebook, YouTube, or Twitch? Because on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch, if you type in JJ's live show, that's JJ's all caps live show, you will find us. And you can join in on the conversations on Facebook, YouTube, or Twitch. Did I mention Facebook, YouTube, or Twitch enough? Can I say that any more times? I'm just kidding. Today is going to be a good day because it's the next day. We're making headway throughout the week. I have family coming in town tomorrow, so I will not be live, or they're coming in today actually to watch me play on Saturday. If you're in the Southern California area, come to Saddleback College in Mission Viejo, California. Kickoffs at 6 p.m. Saddleback, we are playing Mount Sac, and it's going to be a good game. Mount Sac last week was ranked number 6 in the nation. We were ranked 13th in the nation, so it's top 15 matchup weekend, so it's going to be a good game. But I want to thank everybody who joins on the show. If you're listening on Spotify or Google Podcasts, or I don't think we're on Apple Podcasts because I don't pay money for that, and I think I'd get kicked off that platform anyways. If you're listening to this, that means you've missed the live show, which is totally fine. You can keep listening. But if you want to join in the conversations while we're live, and you can see my face, and you can like watch the video, and you can see videos that I pull up, or the screens that I pull up, or whatever articles that I pull up while we're live, feel free to do that. We're live on JJ's live show on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. I think you heard me say it enough. Make sure you follow. I'm not asking you to follow on all 3 platforms. Just follow whatever platform you would want to, or whatever platform would actually get you to watch. Does that make sense? So some people love Facebook. Some people hate Facebook. Some people are on YouTube all the time, and some people venture on Twitch and see me live on Twitch, and that's how they watch. It doesn't really matter to me. I have been told that Twitch is the best viewing experience. So if you've never been on Twitch before, you can make a Twitch just to follow, just to watch the show. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna drop the Twitch in the chat right here. The Twitch, if I can, if I find the correct link. That's YouTube. Okay. I have these hotkeys. There it is. There it is. I got it. It's G3. Dude, let me delete these. Boom. That's where we are on Twitch. Here's a link. The links are in the comments. Boom. There you go. A lot's been going on lately, as with, it feels like every episode I'm always like, there's a lot going on this week. NFL football starts tomorrow. My Dallas Cowboys play the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They're defending Super Bowl champions. It's going to be, so Zach Martin tested positive. It's one of our offensive guards, offensive linemen. He plays guard. He tested positive for COVID, so he will not be playing. And it's kind of dumb because pretty much everybody in the NFL is either vaccinated or has already gotten COVID. I don't know what we're doing. It's okay. There's been a lot of talk, as I guess you can say. A lot of people have been talking about this abortion thing that's going on in Texas right now. I want to talk about this from a couple of different perspectives right now. Okay, so let's go ahead and talk about it. I saw more people on the internet criticizing this vote that got passed over the COVID, over COVID, or not over COVID, sorry, over the abortion. Wow. Okay, hold on. Let me restart. I saw more people on social media bashing or saying it's like a really bad thing about this abortion bill in Texas. And I just have to say this. Where were you when they were voting on it? What people did you vote in that will represent their constituents correctly? Okay? The people get the government they deserve. And I'm not saying it's your fault. I'm just saying you could have made a hoopla about it before it came in to fruition. Right? If you don't agree with something, vote on it. Don't just bitch about it. Okay? You need to be proactive. That's why it's so important. I bet it's the same people who think it's not important to hit the voting booths. The same people who probably didn't vote. Look, I'm not saying you can't complain about it. I'm not saying your feelings aren't validated. I'm just saying, where were you? Why wasn't there all these memes, all these negative posts, all these people posting on social media before the bill passed? I didn't see anybody talking about it. I didn't see anybody saying like, "Hey, let's go vote about it." I didn't see anybody signing any petitions. See, in California, we had complaints about the governor, Gavin Newsom, and how he's handled COVID. So what did the people do? They got together. They got a recall petition signed. I don't remember how many millions of signatures was required, but they got the millions of signatures that were required, and then believe it or not, they did audit those signatures. So I don't know why we don't audit mail-in ballots for voting, but okay, whatever. After those signatures were all audited, they had enough to hold a recall, ballot, and we are voting on it September 14th. If you want to recall Newsom, vote yes on September 14th. Vote yes September 14th. If you live in California, to recall Gavin Newsom. If you don't want to recall Newsom, vote no. But I'm pretty sure there's a lot of people that want Gavin Newsom removed, even though now there's a lot of propaganda saying that, ironically, that Republicans are trying to steal power in California. That doesn't make sense. We're doing all the processes have been, the process has been taking the right steps. Okay. They're not cheating anything. They're not lying about anything. People don't want Gavin Newsom as a governor of California. And they're saying that if we get a different person, they're saying all kinds of weird things, all kinds of legitimate propaganda to not get Newsom recalled. And there's even posts I've seen, like, think about the impact it'll have on the Biden administration, on Nancy Pelosi, and yada, yada, yada. That's kind of the point. There is almost zero confidence in our leadership, especially here in California. Gavin Newsom has been caught several times lying. He's been caught several times being hypocritical. He doesn't know what he's doing. He's a terrible leader. He's a good-looking man, but golly, terrible politician. Actually, terrible leader, probably a good politician, honestly. I think our confidence in our politicians are at an all-time low at this moment in time in American history. So continuing on with our conversation about the Texas abortion thing, you've got to be proactive in voting for things, right? That's why this is important. That's why voting for your local government is important. But we have these rights to vote. We have these privileges to vote. And that's what makes America so great, is that we can vote on these things, so we don't have what we don't want to happen. I'm not going to really dive deep into maybe I will. My stance on this, okay, I'm a Christian, okay, so keep that in mind. And I have gone back and forth on this abortion thing. In a perfect world, nobody will be raped, nobody will be molested, nobody will be, getting pregnant with an unwanted child. So, if we take rape out of the picture, okay, if we take things like unconsensual sex out of the picture, I don't think that it is responsible for women to get like multiple abortions in their life. I'm not saying that they are. I'm just saying I don't think that's responsible. However, I don't think the government should be able to tell a woman what they can and can't do with their body. On the other hand, I think we need to acknowledge that once there's a heartbeat, and people, I think a majority of the people would say that once there's like a heartbeat, or fingers and toes or eyeballs or whatever, that might be considered life. I'm not saying that 6 weeks is the cutoff for that. I personally think that if I was in charge, I would never put a law about having abortions so early, just because 6 weeks is very early. I don't know. I just don't know if 6 weeks is a good cutoff. I don't know. I am definitely against late, like second, third term abortions. That is definitely life, especially if you're if you're halfway through the pregnancy and then you decide to have an abortion. I don't really know the thought process behind that. Unless there's obviously danger to the fetus or to the mother, then that's a whole different deal. But what I don't want is the government to be able to tell a woman what they can and can't do with their body, or anybody what they can and can't do with their body. But I don't want women to get abortions. To me, this is an issue about freedom of choice. I'm not pro-life or pro-choice necessarily. Obviously, I'm pro-life, I guess. I don't want people to get abortion, but I don't want the government to be able to tell an American what they can or can't do with their body. I think there could be a better system for providing healthcare in this manner for women. I think there could be a better system to get women help if they are pregnant with you know, a fetus from some sort of unconsensual sex. But then I hear stories of people who have had lots of abortions. I have known people that abortion's not a big deal to them, and that's scary to me, but I don't think that represents the majority of people. I think that abortion, like, getting an abortion is a hard, I've said the word abortion a lot on this. I think the decision to abort a baby is not taken lightly for most of these women. And I feel like the people that are extremely pro-life think that a majority of the women that decide to abort a fetus just is like, oh, it's willy-nilly, it's just another day at the office. Like, but I don't think that's necessarily the case. I think for a majority of people, this is a heavy decision. And I don't think that influence from the government should play a factor in what's best for a human. If I was in charge, this is what I would have happen. I've thought about this a lot. I would come up with a time frame. Okay, so first off, I would say this. I would say that a woman could have one abortion, no questions asked, provided, paid for by the state. Okay? Provided and paid for by the state. That's pretty crucial, right? No questions asked. And then I would say, up to a certain point, obviously, it would have to be, I think, first trimester. I don't really, like, within the first trimester, I would have to, like, do more research about, like, when certain things of the fetus forms, because I'm not well versed in that. But here's why I would say that. No questions asked. You never know what a young woman is going through. A 16, 17, 18-year-old woman might have had consensual sex that she regretted in the middle of doing it. Maybe it was like a 17-year-old that was infatuated by an older guy. You know, we hear these stories all the time. And it's not necessarily rape, but it's definitely being taken advantage of. And it's not even that she regrets, if it's like a one-time thing that she regrets, and it's not even that she regrets getting pregnant. She regrets the whole situation, but now she's going to have a whole life reminding her of that one night. And then obviously there is cases of rape and that sort of thing. But as far as the one paid for by the state, one abortion paid for by the state, if it's within a certain time period, if it's with no questions asked, you get one. Okay. Then we'll come into other cases where if you file a police report and, you know, you not prove that it was sexual assault or rape, but if you have a legitimate circumstance that, you know, there was unconsensual sex involved, then I think that one should also be paid for by the state. Okay? But you should be able to have at least one, no questions asked. Within, I don't know, let's just say for the purpose of the argument, within the first trimester. As someone in charge, I would completely ban abortions after the first trimester. However, there needs to be more state-funded or locally funded. I would say locally funded. Okay, so we have federal, and then we have state, and then we have locally funded. Let's just say by county. I would say state or locally funded or both, subsidized by one another or whatever, of pregnancy care, because I know that there are things that women need, like I'm sure that they need vitamins, that they probably need more food, they probably need, like maybe give them food stamps, right? Even if they can go and they decide that I don't want this baby, I want to put it for adoption. Once you enroll in that adoption program, like okay, so sorry, let me back up a little bit. So after the first trimester, no abortion. However, you can go to whatever center and say, I don't want this baby. They say, hey, you can't have an abortion anymore because you're past the first trimester, but we do have this adoption program. Okay, so there are tons of people that want to adopt a new baby. Okay, so instead of having an abortion, what would happen is that you would have a plan to give up this baby for adoption to a family. But what happens is that we need to have some sort of support for that pregnant woman, because a lot of the issues, there's a lot of issues with single females being pregnant that people don't think about. At a certain point, they might not be able to work. They might not be able to spend a lot of time on their feet and, have enough food and nutrition to sustain a healthy lifestyle while pregnant. Okay, so maybe also the male's out of the picture. Maybe they're single and live completely alone. Maybe they were, they're from California, but they went to Utah to go to school, and then they became pregnant, and then now they're away from their family and all that kind of stuff, right? So we need to provide some sort of structure for this female and for the baby to have a smooth transition through pregnancy, right? And then to adoption, okay? So we can have state or federally funded food stamps for like a post first trimester, or even if you decide that you don't want to have an abortion but you just want to give it up for adoption, like food stamps for just extra food. Even if they have money for food, just give them the option to get food stamps, because that'll help ease the burden of the bills, right? I'm not saying give them cash, I'm not saying give them a check, I'm saying food stamps, okay? Then provide them with counseling if needed. But let's say this. Let's not say federally appointed people for counseling. Let's say private counselors. They get to choose, okay? They get some sort of insurance that's available the first day that they enroll. It's available that day, where they can go to any, that's a key word, any private counseling or psychiatrist or doctor or whatever, to if they need counseling or therapy or whatever, okay? It's like this. You got to look at the physical well-being of the mother and fetus and the mental and social well-being of the mother. Okay? There just needs to be more resources like that. We put a lot of money into things that don't really matter. Okay? But I think that this could be something that both sides could agree on. I think everybody can agree within the third trimester, that is a baby. That is a person that's just not ready to be breathing on its own lungs yet. I mean, you've carried that baby at that point for what, 6 months? I think people have got to make a more decisive decision. If they want to have an abortion, they got to make a more decisive decision. There's no changing your mind when it comes to birthing a life, okay? But if you do have second guesses about keeping that baby, there needs to be, like I said, that we talked about, resources in order to make sure that the woman and the baby is taken care of. I'm not saying that was set in stone, my idea, if I was in charge. I'm just kind of spitballing here about what can be done. And I don't know why more people don't talk about the mental, physical, and social health of, when I say social health, I mean like a woman could get alienated depending on her social status. Like if she goes to church, if she goes to school, can be alienated from her friends or from her people that her coworkers, her peers, because she got pregnant out of wedlock or whatever, or she got knocked up at a party or whatever. She can be alienated. I think people are overlooking that there are so many different circumstances that involved a woman getting pregnant and then them choosing to abort a baby. And I don't think that the decision for the most part is taken lightly. However, I do know more than one person, obviously I'm not going to say their name, that don't look at it as a big deal, and they've had I don't I say multiple abortions. Like, more than one to me is more multiple abortions. One of them has had more than 5 or 6. And I don't even know if that's healthy for a person. I didn't even know that you could physically have that many. I legit didn't even know. So there's just a lot of factors that go into this, and I think that it's not as straightforward as women choosing to get an abortion or whatever. But I also stand what I said. You need to vote. If you don't want something happening, you got to vote. I get it. Sometimes the people that you voted to represent you don't represent you correctly, and yada, yada, yada. But that's why it's important that you got to go to the voting booth and vote. You need to not vote based on a color or what side of the totem pole they lean on, left or right. You need to vote on based on what they stand for, what they believe in, the policies, right? I voted for, when I did this last election in 2020, for local government, I didn't vote all Republican. I didn't vote all Democratic. There was some I voted Republican, some I voted liberal, some I voted, and when I say liberal, Democratic, there was some I voted, what is it called? Like independent, all across the board. I did vote for Trump. Yes, that was Republican, but then I believe it was one of the city council members who was independent. One of the superintendent for the school, or what is that called here? It's not superintendent. It might be superintendent. One of the school board members I voted for was Democratic, I think. You know what I mean? Like, I did, like, it doesn't have to be like extensive research, but just enough. And then if I didn't know, I just didn't vote. You don't have to check every single box. But it's up to you as a citizen to exercise your right to vote. Plenty of people died to the sword or died in the line of fire for you to have that right to vote. A little bit heavy of a topic today. I don't I'm not into this sheep thought. I'm not into following the shepherd, okay? I'm not into following an ideology. I'm into having my own thoughts. I'm into not being first to talk about something, but being the most, first, and the most, I don't want to be first to talk about something. I want to have all the information. I want to be able to digest and process what's happening in the news, or what's happening in town, or what's happening in my house, before I just jump in and start talking about it. There's some things that I will die on certain hills about, but there are other things that I don't think it's that big of a deal to think about, to decide based on my own decisions what could be done, or what's best for me, or what's best for my family. I'm not into being right wing. I'm not into being left wing. There's certain situations that the way the Republicans do it's right, and there's some situations the way Democrats do it right. There's some situations where neither of them do it correctly. Some say I'm libertarianism in that way, or I'm a libertarian. Some say that I'm independent in that way, or that I'm libertarian in that way. But I would just say that I'm just an American. I don't need the government to tell me what I can or can't do. I also shouldn't tell my neighbor what they can or can't do. Being American is also a mindset. Okay? It's about freedom to choose what you should and what you can and what you want to be able to do based on your life. If you want to screw up your life, go for it. Or you want to decide what's best for you and your family, do it. The government doesn't decide that for you. Your neighbor can't influence your choices for you. That's where I stand on a lot of things. Don't be a sheep. Be a man or a woman. Be a leader for yourself. Be a leader of a family. Learn to lead your own life. I don't trust a lot of these politicians to lead me because they can't lead their own life. Having distrust, having questioning your political leaders is so patriotic. You don't even realize that. It's funny, people really doubt the power that they have as citizens in America. They really doubt that if something were to pop off, if the citizens could defend themselves against the government. And that's a lot of push by the anti-gun people, is because a lot of the pro-gun people want to be able, it says that we need to have a well-regulated militia, we need to be able to defend ourselves against a tyrannical government, which is the why we have, look, we don't have the Second Amendment for hunting, okay? I don't use an AR-15 to hunt. Do I know people that do? Sure. Could I use it to hunt? Absolutely. I use the AR-15 for two things. One, sport. A really good hobby. If you haven't tried it, do it. Also, I'm pretty efficient with my AR-15 if I have to be, to defend my family, defend my property, and defend my rights from a tyrannical government. So yes, I do have it for protection. Not just for me, not just for my family, not even just for my neighbors, but for the future generations of Americans. People that are anti-gun say that you won't be able to defend yourself against the government. They have tanks, they have drones, they have this, they have that. Two things. One, we just left a country that we were fighting with, a non-state, not a what is it called? Basically a organization that's not bound to a state. The Taliban. We've been fighting us with small arms such as AKs and flip-flops for 20-something years. The Taliban is one of the only societies to never been defeated, and they've never been a world power when it comes to a military. Back in, when we were fighting for our independence, we were fighting the Revolutionary War, we were fighting the world's most powerful navy the world has ever seen, the known world has ever seen to that point. We had a bunch of 15-year-olds with hunting rifles. It wasn't a bunch of men, like 18-year-old men that were fighting the Revolutionary War. It was young kids. It was old men. It was people that were willing to die for freedoms of future generations. So yes, I believe that us as citizens do still have the power to defend ourselves. We do have the power to put our government in check, and we need to keep that. So it's important for you to vote in the voting booths. I want to thank you guys for joining in today. I believe that you are great and powerful, and you will accomplish great things this week. I want you guys to know that I'm super thankful for everybody who watches. And if you watch, make sure you like, comment, share. It really helps me. It's a way for you to support without any money. Notice there's no commercials. And if there's commercials, I need you to congratulate me, because that means I have enough listeners to get a commercial. I haven't seen a dime of that money yet, if there is commercials. So, yeah. We are growing slowly but surely. I'm not in any rush to grow this platform. I would like to grow it, but I just want to be steady. I want to figure out the kinks of the show. And I want to thank you guys for being patient, as not only as I'm figuring out kinks and technical things to make the show better content, but also how to actually grow this effectively and grow the live audience aspect, as well as growing our online listeners. So if you're listening on whatever platform I thank you. Make sure you tell your friends about us. Excuse me. And make sure you try to follow us when we're live on and watch and participate in the show when we're live on Facebook, YouTube, or Twitch. Okay. You can also support monetarily on Anchor if you would like. There's an option to, you can be a subscriber for like 99 cents a month or something, or $5 a month. You are more than welcome to do that, but I am more wanting you to promote the show by just sharing, like tickling the algorithms on YouTube and Facebook, and sharing, telling people to get in here. So, hey, thank y'all for coming in. Y'all are absolutely amazing. Make sure you check out my buddy's music streamables on Spotify. You can use it on your Facebook streams, your YouTube streams, your Twitch streams. You can use it on your podcast. You can use it on whatever you want. Check out streamables on Spotify. All right, guys. The next show we have might not be until Monday, because I have family in town coming into town today. They will be here tomorrow, Friday, Saturday I have a game. Sunday is Sunday, so I don't do shows on Sundays. So it might not be till Monday. If it's not until then, hey, miss you guys. All right, guys. See y'all on the next one. Peace. Welcome.